Hey friends, let's chat 4th grade independent readers. Well, I'm really excited for my son this year because he gets to dive into a whole world of reading yet again, but we are going to make sure that we are covering all types of genres and different places around the world. The first pick actually was one that he made, and it is called The Challenger Disaster. This is part of the History Comics series, and it is a graphic novel. This is not from any kind of religious source, so sometimes with the History Comics we want to be careful with what we are selecting, but he is really enjoying this. He says it's a little bit strange, but I love that he picked something that he's interested in, and it is still learning about a piece of history. Now, graphic novels are something that my sons really love, but it's hard to find educational ones that you can trust. Another book that I really like is When Stars Are Scattered. This is a beautiful story about two boys who are fleeing Somalia and have to join a refugee camp in Kenya. Okay, and by beautiful, I mean it is so well done, but it is a tearjerker. It will make you cry. It really gets you. But I think that that's important with our kids too, that they develop empathy for people that live in different situations and circumstances than they do. These boys live in this situation. They don't have parents. They're constantly looking for their mom to see if they can get reconnected. It is a graphic novel. It's beautiful. Highly, highly recommend you read it with your kids. So I did When Stars Are Scattered with my kids in the past, but this year I would like for my 4th grader to read it himself. Another option though, as we are learning about Africa, would be this one, which is called Home of the Brave. This is actually about a refugee that comes to America, specifically Minnesota, where we live. And it is about the culture shock that he experiences being here. This is written as a novel in verse, and so it is a different style of read than what my son would be used to. I really want to expose him to some of this. I really enjoy it and find that there's a lot of passion and heart behind this style of writing that you can kind of feel a little bit more. So this is one that I would be interested in him picking up and choosing, but I do have some other free verse novels that might be options too if we don't get around to that one while we're studying Africa. Now, because we are studying different places around the world, I thought it'd be really nice to tie it in with this book. I actually read through this entire book the night that we received it. It is from Usborne. It's called A Short History of the World. I was really nervous about what it would include, but I was so pleased. It talks about Amorites and Hittites and King David and Jesus and where those all fall in the timeline. It also talks about other religious leaders around the world, and so it's like a really brief introduction. It really doesn't get deep into much, but kind of places where these things happen throughout time. I think it'll be really healthy for my son to go through, and we can even use this as an outline for our new timeline that we have up in our homeschool space. I would love to show you that, but I need to save that for another video, so make sure that you are subscribed so you see when our homeschool room tour video comes out. On a sad note, Old Yeller. Now, I wanted my son to read a classic. This one is great, and the importance of it is learning to make hard decisions. And wow, hard decision, right? I know that he is not going to be happy with me for this book, but I think 4th grade is a really important time to introduce a lot of these concepts of making hard choices and even having to have those ethical conversations of how to handle certain situations. This is a good time for us to be going through this, so I want him to endure this one. While I like him to have input on the books that he's reading, this is one that I think I'm going to be a little pushy on, making sure that he goes through it. But then there's always the lighter note. We have listened to the audio of The Wild Robot 2 times because it is so good, and I would highly recommend listening to it because it is so fantastic. But my son has chosen to read The Wild Robot Escapes as what he will be reading to his brothers at bedtime. My oldest one really enjoys reading to his brothers. I think they think that it's a way to kind of stay up late, and I think that it's a way to sneak in extra reading, so everybody's happy. One thing I really like about these books is how short the chapters are. Often they are just one page and then done. And so if we're having a late night, I can say, okay, just one chapter tonight, and it's really short. Or they can feel like they're getting away with a lot and read several chapters in one evening. This is a really fun book. I haven't read this one, but the original one is about a robot who has to learn how to survive on an island, how to get along with others, and it is just, there's a lot to pick up on. A lot of good nature study in it. If you haven't done The Wild Robot, you should. Another style that I want my son to delve into is personal growth and spiritual development books. Now, a lady here where I live that I really admire and respect recommended Created for Work. And this is by Bob Schultz. I'm excited for my son to read this in his personal devotional and alone time with God time that we do. We as a family will be doing our family devotions going through the Bible. And so when we are going strictly through the Bible as a family, I like something like this to do individual, and then vice versa depending on what we are doing. I'm excited for him to dig into this one, and we'll see if it is at the right level for him or not, but I thought this one looked pretty good. Along with spiritual growth, you can gain a lot by learning about the church fathers and heroes of the faith. One book that I have found, or series that I have found to be really helpful for this, is from the Light Keepers. And this is 10 boys who made a difference. So this highlights 10 men throughout history, specifically in this box, but there's also 10 women who made a difference in all kinds of different styles that are offered there. This one includes John Knox, Martin Luther, John Calvin, and several others. They are just one chapter per person, so it's kind of brief. I think that this would be a really good one, maybe once a week, to have him do a different hero of the faith and kind of go through. So we'll probably be using it like that. I would caution, if you want to do this style of book with your younger kids, some of it gets kind of deep. I read Polycarp to my kids when they were much younger, and when they got to him burning at the stake, my kids weren't happy with me, and I was a little like, what am I doing? Because they were young. But we live and learn, and there's no warning that I am sharing with you. Another one that I think would be great towards the end of October is Why Did the Reformation Happen? Now, my son loves the Who HQ books. My husband and kids have done several of them. This is very similar. It's got some graphics in there still, but a lot of like easy to understand information, and I'm excited to go through this. Actually, I might want to go through this one with my boys. I haven't decided if he'll do this one individually or if we will do it together. It kind of depends on how we're doing on time and where he's at in his reading schedule. So we will see. Please consider this next book. Even if it isn't for your child to read by themselves, consider reading it to them. This is Bully on the Bus. And it technically takes place in Australia, but you wouldn't know that other than the kookaburra that gets mentioned. This is about a young boy who is being bullied on a bus, but the bully tells him not to tell anyone or he'll really get it. And he keeps a secret. Some people know, the people on the bus know, his sister knows, he makes her promise not to tell too. This is a free verse novel also, and so I love the way it's written. It's really fun. It's a different style. But the key pages here for me were when he does tell his parents what is going on. He explains it like it was a dragon in a closet and he was trying to keep the door shut, but the dragon was so loud and it was just bothering him and it was all he could think about. But then when he opened the door and he let the dragon out, he could breathe because it wasn't just his problem anymore. Now others knew and could help him fight the dragon. Guys, this is so important for our kids. We don't know everything that is going on in their lives. And if they have something that they are keeping in and that they need to release or to include you in, this is really going to help encourage them. It's really going to share the truth that the light shines on the darkness, that there is help out there and that they shouldn't be keeping secrets that are too big and hard for them to keep on their own. I really liked this book a lot. It will be another tearjerker for sure, but I think the importance of it is something that can't be overlooked. Another hero of the faith book that I don't have with me, I'm getting it from my library, is The Faithful Spy. This is the story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and because it's a graphic novel, I'm hoping my son will be really interested in it. When we cover Europe, I'll have him go through this one. I've heard good reviews from it, and I will let you know more in the future. I have another channel called Bear Hill Adventures where I do book reviews from books that teach your kids about the world, and I will probably have that review on there, so you might want to hop over and check out that channel as well and subscribe. Another one is this one here by Andrew Clements. Now, he is the author of Frindle. I've actually never read anything by Andrew Clements, but I know that that is a popular book. This one is called Extra Credit, and it is about a young girl who has a pen pal friend in Afghanistan, and the two end up learning about each other's cultures, but not everybody in their town is very excited about this friendship developing. And so I think that this will be really interesting. My son's never had a pen pal or anything. We'll see if something develops from that. But this one should be a really good one about learning about different cultures and getting along and finding that middle ground in some situations. So I'm excited for him to look through this one also. What are you guys currently reading? Let me know in the comments. And if you would like to see more of what we are using this upcoming year, you can click on this video. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Bye-bye.